Hello, thank you for clicking. I hope it doesn't sound weird or bizarre, but I have reading fatigue. So I'm someone who normally I don't give myself expectations when I'm going to finish a book or when I'm going to, I don't really care. I just read when I can because I have work, I have school, I have like a lot of things to do. So reading is like my literal comfort. So recently I have been having reading fatigue. So I've been reading a lot more start of the year, I read like memoirs. I read a lot of memoirs, short stories here and there, and like some fiction. And now all the books I want to read, I just pick them up and I'm like, ugh. So currently I'm reading like a book of short stories and it's not really, driving me. And usually the books that I always read are like thriller, mystery, romance, here and there. And I thought, okay, why am I having this reading fatigue? Is it because like I am looking at what people are saying about the books before I read them? It could be because I'm like, okay, what's the point of reading the book? Or is it because I'm just like trying to get something else from the book, whereas I'm not trying to like enjoy the book? Because I've realized that like because of like my outlook on what a lot of people are saying on the internet, I then try to look at the book like I'm some sort of like critique or expert. But the sole purpose is to enjoy the book, right? So now I'm having that issue. And I thought, when it comes to thrillers, what makes me enjoy thrillers? And I think it's three things that makes me enjoy thrillers. Number one, and this is going to be full radical honesty. Number one, I think I love the twisted. I love the crazy. I just love when a book can like take you there. When it just like makes you wonder, okay, how real can this be, or can this be happening down the streets? Good example, Misery. I read Misery last year, which is amazing fucking book by Stephen King, and I kept thinking someone could be in a basement right now, and we think they're dead or they've been missing for a while, and they're like the whole world thinks they're gone, and they might have been kidnapped by like a fan or something. It could be happening. It could be very real. I think that's what makes a thriller or horror very realistic for me because it's like, okay, it's not so far from the truth. This could really be happening right now, and then it just makes you ponder a lot more and kind of see what happens with the person. Number two, in the sense of horror as well, I love like I don't know how to explain, but I love when like so I talked about how it could be so realistic, but then as well when a book genuinely seems like okay, this author did pull this out of their ass, but what the fuck? So a book like that would be The Imaginary Friend by Stephen Chbosky. I read this book like 2 years ago, and I've been thinking about it, right? Because these kids, just like, well, this one child actually, him and his mom move because they win the lottery and they're starting a new life, and then he just like starts getting visited by like some imaginary friend that's telling him to build a tree house. And I'm thinking, okay, it's a huge book, it's right there. And I'm thinking, no harm, no foul. What's going on? And then he's building this imaginary, this tree house, and you realize that the tree house is a portal to like the other side. So think Stranger Things in a way. A bunch of like middle school kids, and they're building this tree house, and then people just start to die, and then they go to the other side, and like a lot of people that have been missing out the other side, and they get trapped there, and then the parents get involved, twisted, and then like when you're in the other side, your body is actually also it's like they walk through the treehouse, their bodies are still in the present, but like their souls go to the other side. So anything that happens to them there, their bodies are going to suffer and the whole thing. And I was reading this book thinking, did he pull this out of his ass? Where did he get this from? Which is the beauty of writing. So I love that too. I love number one, when a book can make me think, okay, this is happening down my streets. I love when a book makes me think, when a thriller makes me think, this was put out of the ass, but I'm sat. I'm intrigued. I'm okay. I'm here. Number three, I think number three for me would be when there are so many people to keep up with in a book. Hear me out. Sometimes I feel like when a book is centered on one person or like one scene or like, a certain narrative, it can be done well. For example, Misery, it was like basically set in like a house, just two characters with some like flashbacks here and there, right? But it was just two people. But when it's like a wider span of a book that happens like in a city or has like a driving plot or something, right? I believe personally that's a lot better when there are different people to follow and there are different stories to kind of like get engrossed with. So a great example would be this book by S.A. Cosby, All the Sinners Bleed, right? It's about this, these weird, twisted serial killers, and two died. but then the whole story was kind of like looking for one. And even though this book doesn't really capture what I'm talking about, but like you're following this detective, and then there are minor stories of like the father, the brother, the mother, his girlfriend, his ex-girlfriend who comes because she's a podcaster, and then like the new sheriff, well, the deputy who wants to become the sheriff, and like the current sheriff's past with the FBI and why he left the FBI. There's too many story points. So I think that's very important because when you're getting bored or tired of one like part of one person, it's good to kind of be like, okay, let's see what this person is doing over here. Because I'm not gonna lie, with Misery, it got to a point in the book where it's like, okay, I'm tired, I'm tapped out, I need a break because we've been following you for so long. Like, you're gonna be here tomorrow, nothing's gonna happen. But like with different people, it's kind of like good to kind of like almost like, I'm saying like a lot, but checking with them at various points. That's what I think makes it for me. I think those are the three things that really make me enjoy a thriller. Nothing so dramatic, nothing so crazy, but I believe those are really important for me. And I don't know why I have burnout. But I will say I believe I have reading fatigue now is because every time I pick a book up and I'm not sure about the book, I then go on and see what people say about the book, which in all honesty is fair. I think it's pretty fair. That's why a lot of people talk about books because they want to kind of give you a heads up of what they think and what you might think, even though everyone has different values and points and whatever in reading. But I think for me, the best course of action would be not to look at what people say about books because ultimately, a lot of the books that I bought, like at the library or something, is because I love the covers, I love the premise, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to enjoy this. And a lot of them, I haven't seen people talk about them, and I feel like, okay, I'll be the first to talk about them. And then the other half is because people talk about them, or I have some from like Book of the Month, which I still have like a running tally on the channel as well. So I'm kind of like, okay, obviously, if they vetted through a lot of books and chose this book, they chose it for a reason. So I kind of have to like purge my mind. So right now I'm reading like a book of short stories. I might read a memoir after, just to kind of like purge my mind of what people have thought about books that I want to read, and we'll see what happens next. But I just thought I would, come say that because why not? Anyway, thank you for watching this like 5 minutes video of me just rambling on. I hope it made sense to someone. I genuinely hope someone as well feels the same way that I do. But yeah, talk to you later.